Hello people, welcome back to part 2 of the JavaScript tutorial. And so I'm just going to explain what the HTML does first. And so the first thing you'll see is doctype.html, and basically you need to include that on every HTML file, and that just tells the browser that like what type of HTML file it is. And then there are these things, like you can see that there's these like angle brackets for less than or greater than signs, and these are called tags. So for example, a tag looks like this, and most tags have to end with another thing. So basically this is the beginning of the tag, and this is the end, and the end just is the same, exact same, but with a slash. And inside are the stuff that's like actually inside the tags. And yeah, that's basically a basic way to explain it. And yeah, so here is the beginning of the HTML tag, and this is the end, and these stuff are inside the HTML tag. And these are the stuff inside the head tag. And what the head tag does is basically just some basic some information about the web page. For example, the title is hello, so it shows hello here. And also the script tag tells it that this is a JavaScript file, and the file that we're running is called script.js. So yeah, the browser knows we need to run this JavaScript file. And chart set is just like the text encoding or something. And inside the body is like actually what stuff is rendered on the web page. So yeah, that's basic HTML. I'm not going to like explain too complicated because we're not learning HTML today. And yeah. So I explained the HTML thing, and we're not going to touch it for the rest of the tutorial. Let me just make the font size a bit bigger. So the first thing we're going to learn is comments. So basically the way you make comments is press 2 forward slashes, and now you can type anything. So like this is a comment, and it basically does nothing at all. So it's just for like taking notes or describing how the code works, so it's easier to understand. So yeah, that's basically comments. It's just for taking notes. And another way to do comments is slash and then that. Slash forward slash and an asterisk and then another one like that. So now this is like a multi-line comment. So yeah, so like you can type like different lines, and it just like automatically puts everything in there, like comments it out, and it does nothing, and it's just for taking notes. And so another way you can use comments is basically for like removing a part of code temporarily without deleting it. So you can just do that, and now if you save this file and reload, you will see it does nothing because this code, it just ignores it now. And now if you put it back, yeah. So that's basically comments. Pretty simple. It's just for taking notes. Yeah, that's it. Let's talk about this console.log thing first. So as you can see, it prints hello world because we told it to print hello world. So the reason it says hello world is because we have hello world in quotation marks here. So yeah, we can change it to anything we want. So basically this is a piece of text that is printing. Other stuff that I can do are, for example, let me just duplicate it to duplicate this line, and just to give you an example. Other things that you can do are numbers, and also there's another thing called booleans. So basically true or false, and numbers are just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 100, whatever. So yeah, this is called text, or the name for it is actually called string. This is called number, and this is called boolean. Boolean because I think it's named after someone called Boole. I'm not sure, or Boolean. I'm not quite sure, but it's named after a person. And yeah, so these are 3 types, and if you reload, it says hello world 1 and true because we told it to say hello world 1 and true. So basically, yeah, these are the 3 types of variables, values. And next, what we're going to do is called variables, and basically it's just a way to store some data. So the way we make variables is var for var, and then we can write any name we want, for example text, and we make it equal to with the equal sign, quotes, hello world. And next we can also assign stuff like var, let's name a number this time, 1. And let's name this one var, this, yeah, I'm very creative at names. So, yeah, these 3 things. And so basically we have these variables, and variables, they store this thing. So we can just replace this with text, and we can replace this with number, and we can replace this with boolean, and it will say the exact same thing because text, it prints this and that. So okay, so let me explain what the different data types are useful for. So for example, an example I can think of for text is, let's say if you're making some programs that ask for the person's name, we can store the person's name here. So like we can say Bob, and yeah, I'm just gonna rename these to, like, for example, name. And we can also do, for example, age. So like you can store the person's age with a number. So for example, let's say 30. And boolean, let's say what can be represented with boolean. Let's say if likes ice cream, why not? And we can just do true. So, and we have to remember to replace these names into variables too. So let's just say that. And so yeah, now we have that, and it says Bob 30 and true. So yeah, that's basically how you declare variables and the different types. We can also modify these types. So let's say that we want to add a last name there too. So the way we do that is called name equals name plus, let's say the person's last name is also Bob for some reason. So his name is Bob. And age, we do age equals, let's say it's 1 year later, and we can do age plus 1. So you'll notice that for in like math, this doesn't make sense because you can't have a variable that's equal to the variable plus 1. But in programming, it works because this isn't actually like equal sign. It doesn't like solve for both equations and then cancel out name, and then you get 0 equals 1. But actually what it does is basically take whatever value is here and then put it in this thing. So basically it's 30 and plus 1, so now this is 31, and then makes the age 31. So yeah, it works in programming. And also let's say that now because he is 31, he doesn't like ice cream anymore, and we can just assign it to be false. And now his name, it would be Bob and 31 and false. And yeah, there's no space between the names because I forgot. You can just add a space here, and yeah, Bob 31 false. So that's basically how you can modify the stuff. Yeah, sorry. You can't accidentally add a var. It still works, but you shouldn't do that because you declared it first here, and now you're just changing the value. You're not making a new variable. So that's basically it. And also another thing to note is that you can actually add different values together. For example, let's say we want to do name. So name plus name. So this is the name. This name means actually this variable, but this isn't the variable because we put it in quotes, and this is actually the text name. So we can do name colon, for example, and then let's say we can also do age like this, and so we add it here. And likes ice cream, for example, we can yeah, we can also do that, and then plus it plus. So now it will say Bob, name is Bob, and age is 31, and likes ice cream is false. So that's basically how yeah, that's how you can add stuff. So you can add text to a number, which basically combines them, and it says age space 31, and likes ice cream plus likes ice cream will be the same thing. So so it says likes ice cream, and which refers to the text, and then like ice cream this variable, and which equals false. Actually, we don't need to name it like this. We can just like name it like a normal person that likes it. But yeah, and also for variables, you can name it anything you want, but except you can't start a name with a number, and also it can't be any sort of like Unicode, like some weird symbols. But I mean, hashtags, dollar signs, percents don't work, but quotes don't work, but some symbols work, but just mostly just do numbers and letters. And you can put numbers in the middle of the name, but you just can't begin it with a number. And yeah, as a convention, if you have like multiple words, is to make the first letter lowercase, but the other word, like you do the new word, is you make it capital. And same for this. So yeah, because you cannot put spaces, because that would treat it as like three different things, and yeah, you need to make it one thing. So this is called camel case. So yeah, that's how you declare variables and how you use them. So now we have three variables that describe the person, Bob. So we have the name, age, and if they like ice cream. But we can actually improve this a bit. And first of all, I'm just going to delete this part because I'm just demonstrating something. And so the way we do it is called objects. And objects are pretty much like similar to variables, but they're kind of like a group of variables. And you create objects the same way. You write var, and that has the name of the object. I'm just going to call person equals, and then we do curly brackets, left one and the right one, or whatever you call it, closing one and open one. And so the way we do this is called name colon Bob. And then we do age, same thing, 30. And then we do likes ice cream, and then we do true. Alright, so that's how you do objects. And I think that looks much better because there's only one variable and you can use it to group a bunch of people together. So yeah, that's basically how you do it. You group two similar variables together. And now if we reload, you'll see that there's an error because we can't find the variable called age. And the reason for that is that we can't just do it like this way because it is inside the variable person now. So what we do is person dot name, person dot age, and then we do person dot likes ice cream. And you can see it shows the exact same thing, and we made like much cleaner and much better code. So yeah, it just helps organize also, like what is useful is that, so because we can't have two variables that are the same, but let's say we want two people, instead of changing the names of these, because before we had to do like name 1 name age 1 likes ice cream 1, and then name 2 age 2 likes ice cream 2, we can just do person 1 and person 2 and leave the names inside the same. Although we have the same name for both of these, but we can identify the diff between them because the first will be the person 1 dot name and the second one will be the person 2 dot name. So let's say we want to, let's just duplicate this and do person 2 dot name, person 2 dot age, person 2 dot likes ice cream. Now let's say this person is called, I don't know, Joe, and his age is, I don't know, 14. Now likes ice cream is also false because I don't know why. Yeah, so now if we do this, it will be name Bob 30 true, and then name is Joe 14, and then false. So that's why you can see that's why objects are really useful, because it just helps organize everything much better, and the code just looks much better than if you just like declare 6 variables and then you have to figure out which one is for person 1 and which one is for person 2. Yeah. Okay, so we made it this way. Although it's much better, it's still not perfect because we because we still have to copy and paste it if we want to add a third person, so we have to change this to person 3. And then like change the name too. So a way we can do it is called arrays. So instead of two variables, person 1, person 2, we can actually do arrays of people. Like it can do arrays of numbers and arrays of everything. So for example, we can just name the array people instead of person, and this is how you do array with square brackets. And we can, for example, put numbers here. So if we do console.log people, obviously people are numbers, but we can like do that as an example. It will say 1, 2, 3, so it can store 3 variables at the same time. And if we put brackets next to the people variable, and let's say we do 1, and then it just shows 2. And the reason for that is actually because these are called indexes, so you get, so it's not the first one, it's the second one, and the reason is that indexes start at 0. So if we do the zeros thing, we should get 1. So for example, if we do that, and we have 1, and if we do 2, we should have the number 3. Alright, so yeah, that's how you can do arrays. And we can do arrays of like objects also, and you can do arrays of like true and false. You can do arrays of arrays of strings. You can do arrays of all of the data types. But you can't have, if I'm correct, you can't have 2 different types of variables. Yeah, you can't have them. Actually, you might be able to. Yeah, you are, but basically it's a group of like data. And this we can do, put person 1 here, and we can, oh sorry, I switched back to the H. And we can put person 2 here. So now what we can do is person 1, person 2. So if we do people, so let's do 0 is 1. So the first one actually, so it will return this object. Bob, age is 30, likes ice cream is true. So, and if we do 1, it just shows Joe. Hello, Joe. Yeah. Alright, so now we have arrays, and what can we do about this? This still works because we still have these variables, but we can also simplify it to, instead of person 1.age, people 0, and then people 0. So now we have kind of like everything in one. Yeah, we have everything in like one array, and it's just better because we can just like we don't have to like declare different actually this should be the second guy, so we don't have to declare multiple variables. And if you go here, we have Bob and Joe. So what you notice that it doesn't seem that this got better because we are still using these 2 variables, and we're still copy and paste this, and we just make this longer. But actually it would be more useful if you have like 1,000 things. We don't actually have to declare 1,000 variables manually here, because instead of declaring the person 1 here, what we can actually do is just copy and paste this here, and so we can just delete this. And we can also just delete this. So now we have 2, I don't know if I should just leave it like that. But basically, now we have the Bob and the Joe in an array of objects in an array. So yeah, objects in an array. So now we don't need to like declare more variables. We just need this single variable, and we can just like keep adding. We can for 100 we can also do this. And yeah, that's all I have for this video. For the next one, we'll see how, first of all, we'll do if statements. So, and also we can see how instead of just copy and paste this a bunch of times, we can actually just do it once. So yeah, alright, see you next time.